What's up, everybody? It's NBA2K26 coming at you again with another video from NBA2K26. I am going to let you guys know what I've been working on. I have been updating my Christmas Day roster because Christmas is coming up on us, and I just kind of want to let you guys know what I have done. First thing I want to let you guys know, I completely went in and revamped the whole roster. I went through and redid a lot of ratings, a lot of signatures, a lot of badges. I redid a lot of tendencies, accessories, gear, shoes, coach emphasis, staff, and even added plays to the playbook. So we're gonna get into it. First thing first, I want to tell you guys, I went through and I lowered the mid-range and three-point tendencies. I'm noticing that sliders, I don't want to lower the sliders so much that it messes up the gameplay. So I said, why not I just tweak the tendencies, and that way it balances everything out. So what I did was I went through and I lowered all the three-point and mid-range tendencies so I could get them low enough to generate misses when you're playing with the player. With RNG being gone out the game, there's no way that I can get players to miss more because the green window is too easy. If you know these players' shots, and you get the timing right, you're not gonna miss. So what I did was I went through and I lowered the three-point ratings and the mid-range ratings, because if you have them at 90 plus, you're gonna green everything. So the highest three-point rating you will see, I think, is a 90, maybe, or maybe an 88. I think. I know the highest mid-range is a 90. The highest three-point rating is 83, 82, 84, 76, 84, 82, 82, 86. So I think it's 88 with Luca. I think, yeah, 88 and 90. How's Reeves a 90? Wait a minute, I gotta change that. Reeves should not be a 90. He should not be over Luca. By doing that, you see his rating change from a 91 to a 90. So, yeah, his rating's gonna change. Let's do this and get his, shot IQ back up. Okay, so what I want to do there is I want to make sure that he is not over Luca, but everybody else, as you can see, is under 88. So the highest 3-point 86, 81. The highest mid-range was 90. Also, I went through and offensive consistency. The highest offensive consistency in the game is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, because he is light years ahead of everybody else. He is the best player in the NBA right now. I don't care. Don't argue with me. He is the best player in the NBA right now, hands down, and he may be the MVP. I gave him a 90 offensive consistency, which is the highest in the game. I lowered everybody else down, and Edwards is an 88. Dini Avia is an 85. I gave Steph an 86. I completely lowered everybody on the Wizards. I did it in tiers, so you'll see like Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams 86, 86, Booker 86, Wembanyama, Fox and them 84. Durant was lowered to an 85. Scotty Barnes went down to an 85. Cunningham is an 86. Siakam is an 86. Jokic is an 88. And the only other 88 is Luka and Giannis, I think. No, I left Jason Tatum alone, so I didn't touch him, so he stayed at 88. Donovan Mitchell is an 88 as well. And like I said, Giannis, but everybody else is lowered on that end. Also, I went through and edited shot tendencies, because not in this video, but the next video I'm going to do, I'm going to go in and show you guys the difference in simulation now that I have fixed these shot tendencies, because some of these lower rated players were scoring way too much, and some of the mid tier players were scoring too much, and the higher rated players was not scoring enough. So I had to go through and tweak the shot touch tendencies, because I tried to implement what I did in 2K25 into 2K26, and that did not work at all. You cannot import 2K25 into 2K26. It is not going to work. They changed a lot of the logic, I think, of the game. So with doing that, yeah, you will see that it changed a lot of things. Also, going through coaching, I changed a lot of the scout advice based off of what I was seeing. This actually helps with your my NBA. I also changed the emphasis, coaching emphasis, which changed a lot of the gameplay based off of what I was seeing. If you give the Clippers physical defense, they will win more games. I gave them conservative defense because they are not that good defensively at all this year. Same thing for the Grizzlies. I went from neutral to conservative, and the simulation is playing out like the teams are aligning where they should be. I'm gonna look more into the simulations and see how it balances out. I'm currently doing it with 5 different my NBAs. So the simulation is being tested out of 5 different my NBAs. Also, I went through and lowered a lot of the coach ratings. As you can see, look on the left hand side below the contract, 2-year, $160 million. It says Doug Christie, position head coach. I completely wiped this slate out. There were coaches that were updated, like Charles Lee went down half a star on defense. Quinn Snyder went half a star up on offense. I completely wiped out the Grizzlies, but I brought Isolo. I brought him back a half a star because I wiped him out like I did Doug Christie, but he got half a star on offense and defense. Tyronn Lue went down half a star on offense and defense, and Billy Donovan went down half a star on defense. Dot River went down half a star on offense. Now, this stuff does matter. You might think, oh, that's not going to matter. Half a star is basically like lowering their rating like 5 points. JB Bickerstaff went up half a star on offense, and Jordan Ott went up half a star on offense. Mark Daigneault, I completely maxed him out. And not Steve Kerr, Tiago Splitter went up half a star on defense. Yeah, that was enough of that. Also with the plays, with the Warriors, I added in post up. I got Jimmy Butler at the 4, and I noticed that they were feeding him on the post so I wanted to kind of get that post up play in there for him. But when Draymond Green is in too, he will also have that post up play. Also with the handoff, I wanted to make it where Draymond is going to be handing off to Steph like that. Also, here's another handoff play with Steph or whoever the point guard is, but it will mostly likely this play was originated for Steph. Also, I noticed that Moses Moody had a couple plays where he was cutting back door. So what I did was I added in a play where you could get Moses Moody cutting to the basket, getting them easy layups, hit up top, like that. And also, it was another one right here where Steph Curry will be cutting in the lane and will get an easy layup. I saw Will Richard, I think that's his name. He also had that play as well where he was cutting two into the basket. Another thing with the plays is with the Nuggets. Sorry, this thing is. With the Nuggets, I wanted to get Jokic up top with the ball in his hand, and I kind of wanted to get it like where he will look to either pass or score. With the Lakers, I also wanted to get it where you'll see like Luka cutting to the basket and being hit with a pass. Another play as well where Austin Reeves will be hitting him. Another one is where I wanted to kind of get like up top. I wanted to kind of get it where Luka and Austin Reeves will be playing off on each other. But also I wanted to get it where LeBron will be up top with the ball because I have LeBron at power forward and he will be either passing to Luka or Austin Reeves. So here's another one right here where I kind of want to get LeBron with the up high pass where he will be like facilitating basically. And I wanted to give them some 5-out. They didn't run it much, but they do have 5-out plays. So I kind of wanted to do that. And I wanted to do like an ISO where I could get Austin Reeves with the ball on ball. With the other one, the last ones I updated was the Celtics, and I wanted to kind of get like Jaylen Brown involved where he could get like more touches to shoot the three. Not that one. I think is this one. It might be this one. Yeah. Okay. Where Jaylen Brown would be getting the ball in the corner of the wing is where I've been seeing a lot of him. And I also added some 5-outs to the Celtics, swapping out a couple other plays. So that will also help as well. Now to get into the roster, there was a lot of positions update based off of NBA Stat Tracker. So you'll see where I updated a lot of the players' positions. One quick thing, I did add like some shoes in. I saw somebody had on some pink Tatum, so I said might as well give them to Tatum. I know he's not playing, but I did see someone have on some pink Tatums. And Ja Morant does have some pink shoes as well, so I added in the pinks. Now they may not be exactly like that, but hey, I got as close as I can get. There was some that I did, was kind of fun. Luka did get accessories update, and someone else got a shoe update. Kyrie, someone had on Kyrie like pink shoes, but they are the Kyrie 2s. Since we don't have Kyrie 2, I decided to just use the Kai 1 Speed 1 and just make them pink. There was another shoe added. Okay. Now, Kevin Durant. I tried my hardest to mirror the Slim Reapers. So, getting them added in. It took me a minute to create it. I tried to recreate it the best way I could. Devin Booker also wore the pinks one time. I don't think they necessarily look like this, but I tried my hardest to mimic. It was kind of blurry to see it, but he also wore a camo edition, so I tried my hardest to do that there. Now, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander don't have a pink pair, but I just thought it was something cool to kind of add in. But he does still have the cool blues as well. Jalen Williams does have, he wears a lot of Harden shoes. He always wore Harden shoes. He wore the 7s, he wore the 8s, and the 9s of the Hardens. These are the 9s, and he does have like a blue pair. So I got it as close as I could get it. And there are other players that are wearing it. Lou Dort has his own editions of the 9s where he wear the silvers. But I just kind of gave him the Jalen Williams ones instead of just creating the silvers. Same thing with Ousmane Dieng. He has the silvers as well. No, he wears the Jalen Williams as well, the blue. Also, Ant Edwards had on some greens. But I think the green is a little too light. But anyways, these kind of look like what he had on. And the pinks as well. I think Shannon Jr. wears them, but I didn't give him the custom ones. He had on a dark green pair too as well, but I did not. Matter of fact, let me go and add the green pair because he did have on a green pair. So I'll just give him that one as well, and we'll just rock out like that. I think that's enough for the shoes. Yeah, that's enough for the shoes. All right. Back to the roster. I updated a lot of players' position like I told you guys. So this is my ratings. Tyrese Maxey went -1. I lowered his intangibles basically just a little bit because he was struggling the other night. But then they went into a 2 overtime game, which was actually pretty good. I mean, he's been carrying his team on his back. Tyrese Maxey. Oh my goodness. Kyle Lowry and Eric Gordon, I dropped them -2, but that was just to pretty much get them out of the lineup and out of the rotation. They pretty much are relegated to end of the bench, and I guess they're just player coaches. They are definitely gonna retire after this year. Excuse me. VJ Edgecombe went -2, And all I did was drop his intangibles. He was struggling a little bit. Quentin Grimes, same thing, went -1. Paul George, I got him at small forward now. He went -1 when I moved him to small forward. And I don't know if that's just going to be a one game thing or just the coach playing with the lineups or something. But I'm going to leave him there for now. Oubre and Watford should be coming back pretty soon. Watford may be back a little bit quicker than Oubre, but yeah, we're going to see how that goes. Dominic Barlow went +1 as well. And Adem Bona, I removed his injury designation. Janai Broom went +1. I moved him back to center. And I also fixed his jump shot because I had a Chris Bosh jump shot, but I think the Maxi Kleber is a little bit better jump shot. It's a little bit closer. Andre Drummond went +6 to an 83, and I changed his jump shot as well because he doesn't really jump much off his shots, but he has got a better 3 ball and he does shoot more in the corner. So with his tendencies, I gave him a little bit more 3 tendencies and I gave him like more of the corner. He does shoot in the corner more, but he does have a little attempts up the top, so that was better. Joel Embiid went -2 to an 84. I basically just dropped his speed and his vertical. He really can't even move much, honestly. So basically what I did was I took his hustle and things down, and I changed a lot of his dunks. So you will see he has basic dunks now. If he even do dunk, he will have basic dunks. And well, I was supposed to lower these dunk tendencies, but I guess I'll do it now. He's not really going to be doing much dunking, and I'm going to lower that alley-oop and put back. We're going to lower that down as well. So yeah, we're going to do it like that. Getting over to the Milwaukee Bucks, Ryan Rollins, I dropped him -2. Basically what I did was I lowered his intangibles because I have AJ Mitchell on the OKC Thunder in 82, and I don't think him and Ryan Rollins deserve to be at the same tier. So I kind of just bumped him down a little bit. He was kind of struggling a little, but yeah, I just basically did that to kind of drop him down. Kevin Porter Jr. came back and he was coming off the bench, which pushed Cole Anthony down to 3rd string point guard, which he's been struggling anyways as well. So I pretty much just removed his injury. Gary Harris is injured now, but I moved him to shooting guard and he went -1 just from moving him from small forward to shooting guard. So he went -1 to a 72. Gary Trent Jr. went -2 because he was listed as a shooting guard, and I saw him subbing in for AJ Green at shooting guard. So he went -2 to a 75. And Bobby Portis went -1 to a 76. I moved him from center to power forward, which dropped his rating -1. He was actually subbing in for Giannis, and he played a lot of power forward with Jericho Sims coming in at center, getting some playing time. Miles Turner went -1, and I dropped some of his shooting a little bit. He's been struggling. I actually thought he would have played pretty good, but yeah, he's not looking too good. Josh Giddey, I got him at point guard, small forward. He is mostly the point guard. When they did the lineups, they addressed him. He was the point guard. The Bulls owner kind of said like they want to use him like a Tyrese Halliburton type player. But I did see a couple times he did sub in for Dosunmu, who is at small forward. Dosunmu is the small forward on the roster, but I gave Dosunmu a backup position of shooting guard, and Kobe White would be the point guard. Trey Jones went -2 to a 74. I dropped some of his scoring. He has been struggling. Like, he's really been struggling. I dropped Javon Carter 3 badges, and he went -1 to a 72. Dalen Terry, I removed his injury designation. Trenton Flowers went -1 to a 69. I had him at power forward, but he is listed as a shooting guard, small forward. So by me moving him from power forward to shooting guard, he went -1 to a 69. Kobe White went -1 to a 83. He has been pretty mid on defense, but Ever since he came back, the Bulls have been struggling. -2 for Isaac Okoro to a 76, and I dropped a lot of his scoring ratings. I had it too high, and he had some offensive badges. I took away 3 of his offensive badges, which dropped him down -2. Noah Singay, I dropped him down -2 because I had him too high and he wasn't even playing. He went down to the G League, but he still is not going to be in the rotation type player. Patrick Williams with -1 to a 75. Nikola Vucevic went -3 to a 79. And basically what I did was I dropped his defense down. He's not very good defender. He may be I also dropped some of his speed and acceleration too. So his athleticism now is an F. Darius Garland went -1 to an 85. Lonzo Ball went -1 to a 76. And Luke Travers got moved to point guard, shooting guard. I had him at shooting guard originally, but he's listed as a point guard, shooting guard, so he went -1 to a 68. Sam Merrill went -2 to a 75, and that's because I moved him from small forward to shooting guard. He's listed as a shooting guard, and by me moving him from small forward to shooting guard, he went -2. I didn't change his rating at all. Evan Mobley went -1 to an 86. I lowered some of his 3-point rating and mid-range ratings because it was entirely too high. I think now he has a 75. Yeah, 75 at 3. And a 79 in mid-range instead of 80s. So, yeah. That was one thing I wanted to change. And Naquan Tomlin, I pretty much fixed his number. He's 35 now. And I fixed his accessories. Also, I had to fix some players' height and weight as well. Larry Nance Jr. has an injury. He's going to be out 2 weeks. Before I injured Jared Allen, he went -3 to a 78. He did get decreased last time because I had him at an 84. He went -3 last time to an 81. And this time he went -3 from an 81 to a 78. He was struggling anyways. Yeah, so that's it for the Cavs. Peyton Pritchard went -1 to a 77. And Fernie Simons went -2 to a 75. And that's because I moved him from shooting guard to point guard. He is the backup point guard. And by me doing that, he went -2 to a 75. I moved Matt Sugar back to shooting guard. He is listed as a shooting guard. He did not play any point guard at all, so I don't know why I had the designation on him. Derek White went -1 to an 83. Jaylen Brown went -1 to an 89. And basically what I did was I lowered some of his 3-point rating and a little bit of his athleticism, like speed. But other than that, he went -1 to an 89. Ron Harper, I moved him back to small forward. He was a power forward, small forward, but he is listed as a small forward on the roster and a shooting guard. So I moved him back to small forward, and he went +1 when I moved him back to small forward from power forward. I think that's it for these guys. Oh, I moved Chris Boucher back to center, and I fixed his height to 6'9". I had him at 6'8". Also changed his number back to 99. I had to fix a lot of numbers on this roster because I had some numbers wrong and incorrect. James Harden went -1 to an 83, and that's basically because I dropped some of his athleticism. I had his speed way too high. He was not moving that fast on the court. Also, Chris Dunn went -2 to a 75, and that's from moving him from shooting guard to point guard. He was subbing in for James Harden at point guard, and there was times he was the point guard and Harden was the 2 guard. So yeah, Chris Paul went -1 to a 73. He's pretty much fell out of rotation. Yeah, he's pretty much gonna retire. Kobe Sanders went -1 to a 73, and that's because I moved him from point guard to shooting guard. He's listed as a shooting guard, but he does play 3 positions: shooting guard, small forward, and point guard. By me moving him back to shooting guard, he went -1 to a 73. Jordan Miller is the shooting guard. He actually come in for Bogdanovich, but at one time he was starting over Bogdanovich. I don't know if that was just 1 or 2 games. Jordan Miller is a shooting guard, and by me moving him to shooting guard, he went -1 as well. Nicholas Batum went +2. I moved him from power forward to small forward because he was actually playing small forward. He sits in a corner a lot. He went +2 when I moved him back. I didn't change his rating. He just moved when I swapped his position. Cam Christie went -1. I dropped his 3 badges and he went down to 73. Kawhi Leonard went -2. I dropped some of his athleticism. I had him moving way too fast. So now I think he's like in the 70s. Yeah, 72, 70, 71, 71. And that's due to a lot of the knee injuries and things like that. John Collins went -4 to a 74. He's been playing terrible, and I think he's going to be one of the main names on the trade designation list. Brook Lopez went -2 to a 73. I dropped a lot of his athleticism and some of his shooting and his defense. He's been terrible. I also took away his 6 badges, so he went down -3. Kobe Brown went +3, and all I did was move his intangibles up because he is now playing over Lopez. I moved Ty Jerome back to point guard, and by doing so, he dropped -2, but he is listed as a point guard on the roster, and he will be back before Scottie Pippen Jr. So within the next 2 weeks, John Morant will be back, Ty Jerome will be back, and Javon Small will be back. So they will be getting a big boost off the bench. I moved Vince Williams over to shooting guard, and he went +1 because I know these guys are going to come back, and I gave him a secondary destination of point guard, but by doing so, he went +1. Same thing for Caldwell Pope. I moved him to small forward from shooting guard, and he went -2 when I did that. John Conchar, I moved to small forward. He went -1. And yeah, I think that was it for them. Trae Young, I removed his injury designation. Vic Krejci, I moved to point guard, small forward. I mean, you can alternate him and Luke Kennard. You can either put Luke Kennard there, but Vic Krejci is one I saw handling the ball more. You could move Dyson Daniels to point guard, but Dyson Daniels was in the starting lineup, so I don't know how this is going to work out. I honestly think it would be better to move Trae to shooting guard and Daniels to the point guard, because I think you would play better with Trae playing off of Daniels than Daniels playing off of Trae, because Daniels not a really good shooter. Caleb Houston went +2. I moved him from small forward to shooting guard, and he went +2, 70 to 72. Jacob Toppin went -1 to a 70, and I moved him from power forward to small forward. He's listed as a small forward on the roster. Zachary Risache, he went -2 to a 76, and Alexander Walker went +2 to a 77. Jalen Johnson went +2 to an 89. He's been playing exceptionally good, and he may be the main focus of this team. Kristaps Porzingis is injured right now. It's some kind of, I don't know. I think it's like a sickness. I thought he was hurt, but apparently he's sick. But I don't think he'll be out that long. I think there's been like a recurring thing. He always gets sick around this time of the year, so maybe he has a low immune system or something. I don't know. Asa Nua went -2. I moved him back to center. He's listed as a center on the roster. I had him at power forward, and he's now 6'11" instead of 6'9". I didn't touch anybody here. Tyler Hero went -1. Basically what I did was I dropped some of his athleticism. I moved Pale Larson back to shooting guard, and he went -2 to a 74. Jaime Jaquez, I moved to small forward. He's listed as a small forward, and he was also playing the 4-2 as well. So he went +2 when I moved him to small forward. Norman Powell went +1 to an 86. Aaron Wiggins went -1 to an 83, and I dropped some of his shooting. I had his shooting way too high. I just dropped his 3-point and mid-range down a couple. So now you will see Aaron 79 instead of an 84. And he has an 85 instead of an 88. I think that's enough there. I didn't touch anybody else there. Getting over to the New Orleans Hornets, LaMelo Ball went -1 to an 83. Same thing. I knocked his 3 down some more. Knocked down his close shot some more. Colin Sexton, I bumped up a few of his ratings, but his rating did not move. I moved Sion James to shooting guard small forward because that's what he was listed as. I had him at small forward. Trey Mann went -2 to a 77. Basically what I did was I dropped a little bit of his defense and some of his scoring right here. I had him way too high. Con Newpel went -3 to an 80. I had him as an 83, but that was a little too high and a little over exaggerated. So I moved him back down to an 80, and I removed some of his badges. Pat Connaughton went +3, and that was because he was in the lineup. But basically what I did was intangible boosted him. Liam McNeely went nowhere. I don't even know why I wrote him. Okay. Yeah, that's it for them. Keontae George went -1 to a 78, and I dropped some of his 3-point and mid-range. I had it scoring too high. Bryce Sensabaugh went +1. I bumped it up a little right here. Ace Bailey went -1 to a 77. Cody Williams went -1 to a 72. Kyle Filipowski went -1 to a 77. I had his shooting ratings too high too as well. Kyle Anderson and Niang went -1 as well, and that was just kind of follow them down the lineups. I didn't touch anybody else here. Russell Westbrook went -1. I dropped 2 badges on him, and I dropped some of his 3-point rating. I dropped it from 79 to a 77. Dennis Schroeder went -1 to a 76. I moved Keon Ellis back to shooting guard from small forward, and he went -2 to a 74. Malik Monk went -2 to a 74, moving him back to shooting guard. And Zach LaVine went -2 as well. I dropped some of his scoring and his defense. I had it way too high. Neat Clifford, I don't know why I wrote him. He didn't move. DeMar DeRozan went -2 as well. I dropped some of his defense, his athleticism, and right here his 3-point and mid-range. Keegan Murray went +1 to an 80. He is about the best player they have on this roster. Dario Saric is listed as a power forward center. I had him at center, but I moved him back to power forward. Moving him back to power forward boosted him up +1. Precious Achiuwa moved to center. He's listed as a center on the roster, and he has been playing center over Drew Eubanks, and he went +1 to a 76 when I moved him over. Jalen Bronson went -1. When I did the update to the offensive consistency, I dropped his offensive consistency from 95 to like 85, and that dropped him. No, he went -2. Okay, he went -2. I'm sorry. That dropped him 2 points, dropping his offensive consistency from a 95 to an 85. And I explained to you why I dropped the offensive consistency. Miles McBride went -1, and basically what I did was drop some of his passing intangibles. Miles Bridges went +1. I moved him back to shooting guard because he was listed as a shooting guard, and Clarkson was the one subbing in for him. Josh Hart started at small forward, but Shamet is going to be listed at small forward right here with them. So I gotta get Josh Hart rating up because there's no way Shamet should have a higher rating than Josh Hart. But when I moved him from power forward to small forward, he actually dropped -2, and I don't understand how that is. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get a rating update for him. OG Anunoby should be coming back soon. Gershon Yabusele went -2 to a 75. I dropped a lot of ratings for him. He's been struggling lately. He hasn't really even been in rotation. And Karl Anthony Towns went down -2 when I dropped his offensive consistency too as well, because I had him at 90 offensive consistency, but I dropped it 10 points and that dropped him -2. Luka went +1 to a 98, even with me dropping his offensive consistency. He went +1 because I boosted his intangible rating. Austin Reeves went +3 to a 91. LeBron James went -2 to an 86. I dropped some of his athletic ability. I had his speed too high, his jumping too high, his defense too high. So basically what I did was I hit his defense right here, and I hit his speed. He's in the 70s now, vert 75. Lowered his stamina to an 80. I think that's all I did here. I'm not sure. Let me see. Gabe Vincent went -1 to a 75. Basically what I did was I dropped his defense a little bit, dropped the scoring a little bit. That's about it there. Nobody else was moved. Jalen Suggs went -1 to an 80. Tyus Jones went -1 to a 74. Anthony Black went +1 to a 77. Desmond Bane went -1 to a 82. I moved Tristan Da Silva back to small forward, power forward, because Noah Penda was the one subbing in at power forward, him and Isaac. So yeah, that, and Paolo Banchero should be back pretty soon. Wendell Carter Jr. went +1 to an 80. Goga Podazde went +1 to a 77. Brandon Williams. Basically what I did was I bumped slightly these 3-point mid-range and close range, but he did not move in ratings. Ryan Nembhard went +3 to a 73, and I fixed his accessories and his hair. So that looks like him there. D'Angelo Russell went -1 to a 72. And I saw he did play shooting guard the other night. I don't know if that's going to be sustainable, so I'm not going to do it right now. Klay Thompson went +1 to a 76. Yeah, that was it for them. Didn't touch anybody here. No, the Nets didn't really get any ratings. Basically what I did was I fixed Noah Clowney 3-point shooting. He takes a lot of 3-point shooting shots now. Sorry. But he didn't get a boost. Jamal Murray went -1 to a 85. Bruce Brown went -2 to a 75. And basically I moved Curtis Jones and Pickett back to point guard, and I moved Tamar Bates to shooting guard. Spencer Jones was moved to small forward, and he went -1 to a 68 by doing that move. Darren Holmes was moved to power forward, and by doing that move, he went -1 to a 72. Taylor Peter was moved back to shooting guard. He went -1. I added Ethan Thompson and released, I was going to say fired, and released Ray J. Dennis. He was released and Ethan Thompson was signed. If y'all don't remember, Ethan Thompson was with the Orlando Magic. So there he goes right there. All right. Pascal Siakam went +2 to a 91. He's been playing pretty good. About the only good thing for the Pacers lately. Jarris Walker went -2 to a 69. He's been struggling lately, like, honestly. And Jay Huff went +1 to a 77. He's been playing pretty good, actually. I didn't touch nobody here. Bryce McGowan went +1 to a 70. Sadiq Bey went +2 to a 81. And Zion Williams has been injured. He's going to be out for a while. Pelicans going to have to sign somebody or do something or something. I don't know. This roster is... I mean... I don't even know what to say about that. The Detroit Pistons... Kate Cunningham went +2 to a 95. Dennis Jenkins went -1 to a 77. Javonte Green, I moved back to shooting guard. I had him at small forward, power forward. He's listed as a shooting guard, small forward on the roster. Chaz Lanier went +1 to a 72. Jaden Ivey went -1 to a 76. He's still kind of struggling. I think he's on limited minutes. Karis LeVert was starting at the 2 guard. I don't know if that's just because Duncan Robinson was hurt, but Duncan Robinson is listed as a small forward. So I went back to a couple of the games when Duncan Robinson was playing, and in the introduction, Karis LeVert was a shooting guard and Duncan Robinson was a small forward. So moving Duncan Robinson to small forward, he went +2 to an 82. Asar Thompson, I moved back to small forward, and he went -2. Ron Holland went -1. Paul Reed is the backup power forward. He went +1 to a 75 when I moved him to power forward. Tobias Harris went +2 to a 77. Jalen Duren went -1 to a 86. Isaiah Stewart went -1 to a 81. And I had to fix Isaac Jones' number. Emmanuel Quickly +3 to a 82. Jamal Sheed +1 to a 76. Grady Dick went +1 to a 78. And RJ Barrett went he went -1 to a 88. Jacoby Walter went +1 to a 75. Brandon Ingram went +2 to a 88. And I think that's it for the Raptors. Oh, no, I'm wrong. Scotty Barnes went +1 to a 90. He actually was a 91. So when I did this offensive consistency thing and dropped it from 95 to an 85, he went down -1. 93 to an 85. I didn't have him as a 95. He's the best player on the Raptors. Sandro Mamakilashvili went +1 to a 75 as well. Reed Shepherd, I moved to point guard. I saw he was starting at point guard the other night. I originally had Amen Thompson, but he is moved back to the shooting guard, which is good because he is not a point guard. I've been saying that for the longest on Twitter. For those of you who follow me on Twitter and those of you who aren't, name is Mr. Santucci on there, so please go follow me on there. Reed Shepherd went +3 to a 77 just by moving him from shooting guard to point guard. He went +3 to a 77, and I still think he might be a little bit higher than it. Let me see if he still stay consistent playing point guard, and then before I move him. Josh Okogie went -2 to a 77. I had his scoring way too high, so I dropped it down 77, 76, 78. I had it way too high. Amen Thompson was 84. I dropped his pass vision down because he is not a good facilitating guard. He doesn't know how to pass people open, and he does not see a lot of open passes. Kevin Durant went -2 to an 86, and that was doing the offensive consistency thing. I had Kevin Durant at a 95, dropped him 10 points to an 85, and he went to an 86. Joshon Tate went +2 to a 74, and Isaiah Crawford was moved from shooting guard to small forward. He went +1. Jeff Green, I moved from center back to power forward, and he went +3 by me doing that. Jabari Smith Jr. went +1. Capella went -1. I took away a lot of his badges. And Steven Adams went -3 to an 80. Stephon Castle was moved back to point guard, and he went -1. Dylan Harper was removed from injury designation, and McLaughlin should be back within the next 2 games. David Jones Garcia went -1 because I moved him from point guard to shooting guard. He's listed as a shooting guard small forward, but he did play a little point guard when all the guards was hurt, so I left him with the backup point guard designation. Lindy Waters went -1 to a 72. Devin Vassell was moved back to shooting guard because he was coming off the bench for De'Aaron Fox, who is the 2 guard. So Devin Vassell went -2 to an 80. Julian Champagny went -2 to a 76. He was a shooting guard in my last roster update, but he was moved back to small forward, and he dropped 2 just moving him over. Keldon Johnson went -2 to 78, moving him back to small forward. Harrison Barnes went -1 to a 78, and Jeremy Sohan went -2 to a 75. Carter Bryant is listed as a power forward on the roster. I moved him to power forward, and he went -2 to a 70. Kelly Olynyk went -3 to a 70. I think he's ready to retire. He's on his way out. Luke Cornett went -1 to a 75. I had a lot of his scoring too high, and when I did the offensive consistency thing, he dropped down a lot. So yeah, he went -2 to a 75. Devin Booker went -2 to a 90. When I dropped the offensive consistency thing, I had him at a 96. He's at 86 now. Colin Gillespie went -1, and that's because I did the offensive consistency thing. Jordan Goodwin, I gave him a face update. This looked a lot better than what I had originally. I had his face too light and his cheeks was too big, and yeah, I mean, he didn't look like himself. Now that's a little better. Kobe Bryant went +1 to a 73. Grayson Allen has a secondary designation of point guard, and I removed his injury designation. Dylan Brooks went +2 to an 86. He's been playing really good, and I noticed that Dylan Brooks is posting up a lot more and fading, so I gave him I boosted his fade up to 78, gave him a little post control. I also added post up back to his game because I had taken it away. He wasn't really posting up. So yeah, I did that. And Isaiah Livers is now injured. I don't know how long he will be injured, but he went +1 as well. I think that's it for Mark Williams went +1 to an 83. And Nick Richards went +2 to a 78. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, basically what I did was I went up on his step through shot, And I went up on his fall because I want him to fall more when he shoot, and I have been seeing that animation happen more. Also, I turned down his drive strong because I want to see him hit the ground more. But he went up mid range to an 89, and I kind of like wanted to keep his rating stable. Only thing I dropped was his offensive consistency from 99 to 90, but he didn't drop in rating, so he must be like 100 plus plus plus. um, AJ Mitchell, he actually went -1 to an 82, and that's because I did the offensive consistency rating. I had him at an 85, but I want to try this new method first, and he went down to an 80 with offensive consistency, so he went down to an 82, so he went -1. Lou Dort didn't move. I don't know why I wrote him. Oh, the shoes. Okay. I can't even read my own handwriting sometimes. Cason Wallace, he went -2 because I did the offensive consistency thing. Alex Caruso went -2 too for the same thing, and Jalen Williams went -1. Chet Holmgren went -2 because of the offensive consistency, and Aaron Wiggins went -1. Kenrich Williams went -1 because of the same thing as well. Jalen Williams went -2, and Hartenstein went -2 because of the offensive consistency. Dante DiVincenzo went -2 due to offensive consistency. And Bones Highland went -1. I just pretty much wanted to get him out of the rotation and relegated to the end of the bench. I moved Jalen Clark back to shooting guard. He is not the backup small forward. He is actually the 2 guard, and he's not really been getting much playing time lately. Johnny Juzang went -2 when I did the offensive consistency as well. And I had to fix his number. He's number 9 now. And Edwards went +1. And I didn't really drop his offensive consistency that much. I had him at a 94. He went down to an 88. So he didn't drop. Jaden McDaniels went down 2. And I moved Leonard Miller to small forward because he was subbing in for Jaden McDaniels, and he went +2 when I moved him to small forward. I moved Joe Ingles back to small forward, and he went -3 to a 72, and I dropped some of his intangibles and his offensive consistency because he has fallen out of rotation as well. Nas Reed, I moved back to power forward, and he went -3 to a 79 by me doing that. And the offensive consistency. Julius Randle went -2 because of offensive consistency, and Rudy Gobert went -3. Joan Behringer is +3, and he has been subbing in for Rudy Gobert, but he has also been playing power forward too. So I gave him a secondary position of power forward. I think it's more realistic for him to sub in at center than Nas Reed, who is 6'9". I thought Scoot Henderson would have been back by now, but apparently no. I think the injury is worse than what they thought it was, and so I thought Holiday would have been back by now, but he should be back around Christmas is what I was seeing. Shaedon Sharpe went -2 to an 80. I dropped some of his 3-point rating, and I dropped his offensive consistency down. Caleb Love went +1 to a 75. He had a big move last time. +5 to a 75. What I'm talking about +1. He was a 70 last time, and he went +5 to a 75. I had to fix his jump shot as well. This is the closest I could get, the best looking shot as well. Also added the tattoos and fixed his hair, touched up his face a little bit. He did get 6 badges as well. Matisse Thybulle went -1 when I did the offensive consistency. And Rupert went -1. I was fixing up a lot of offensive consistency. Jeremy Grant was moved back to small forward. He's listed as a small forward on the roster. I had him as a power forward. He went -2 to an 81. Denny Avia, he's listed as a small forward too on there, and in backup point guard position, but he didn't move in rating. Robert Williams went +2 to a 76. Duke Reith went -4 to a 74, and that was to get him down the rotation. Yang Hansen went -2 to a 70, and I just dropped his defensive ratings. Steph Curry is injured and is going to be out for a minute. Will Richard went -1 to a 75. Moved DeAnthony Melton back to point guard, and he went -1 to a 73. Pat Spencer went +1 to a 73. Seth Curry was added back on a veteran minimum, and he was moved to shooting guard. He went +1 to a 73. Because I had him at small forward shooting guard, but I think he's going to be a shooting guard backup point guard. Gary Payton, I fixed his accessories and moved him back to shooting guard, so he went +1 when I moved him back to shooting guard because he was a small forward. Brandon Podziemski went down -2. Moses Moody went down -2 when I did the offensive consistency for these two. Buddy Hield went down -1. I dropped his defense. Jimmy Butler went -2 when I did the offensive consistency. And I don't know why I put shoes by him. Maybe I was going to... I think I was going to get try to create the Jimmy Butler fours, but yeah, I don't know why I wrote that. I gotta do better at taking notes. Guy Santos went -1 when I did the office consistency, and I can't remember the guy name that was cut from the Warriors. He was released so Seth Curry could be signed. I think it was, no, it wasn't Jackson Rowe. I thought I wrote it down, but I guess I didn't. And I'm not seeing it at all. Oh, it was Jackson Rowe. Jackson Rowe was released. So somehow he didn't make the update. Yeah. Okay. So there's some players that I gotta add. Kevon Harris was waived from the Rockets, and Tyler Smith was added in his place. LJ Cryer was added too as well. So I gotta add those two in. Draymond Green went -2 to a 78, and that's when I did the offensive consistency. Quentin Post went +1, and Al Horford went -1. CJ McCollum went -2 when I did the offensive consistency. Bub Carrington went -1. Sharif Cooper went -1. Malachi Branham went -1. I moved Jameer Watkins back to shooting guard from small forward, and he went -2. Koulibaly went -1. Kaishan George went -3. Julian Champagne was moved back to small forward, and he went -2. Whitmore was moved to small forward, and he was not in rotation. He went -3. Also because I had to do the offensive consistency. And Will Riley was moved to small forward, and I had to fix his height as well. Anthony Gill went -2. Bagley was moved to power forward. He's the backup power forward. He went -1. Chris Middleton went -2 when I did the offensive consistency. Alex Sarr went -3. And Vucevic went +4, and that was just to add him in rotation. So yeah, that was it. I'm going to add LJ Cryer to the Warriors, and I'm going to add Tyler Smith in as well when I get a chance. I'm actually going to do this before I finish. But the video will probably be over by the time y'all get on here. Kevon Harris got to be released. Also in the free agency, before we go, I added in, there's going to be more people added in, but I added in, if I can find him, Victor Oladipo, since he's on a two-way G League contract. He does not have a face. Alright, so I hope you guys like this video. Please like, share, and subscribe for your boy. Peace.